All right, from a high to a very low low, and that is how England fans everywhere were feeling. These are the headlines that grace the papers after their loss to Argentina. Caned by Messi, says the Daily Star. Shattered, says the Mirror, and the Daily Express says agony as our wait goes on. All right, well, Thomas Tuchel has had a thing or two to answer. We're going to get to what he had to say soon, but just have a look at some of the stats that genuinely did not flatter England in that loss to Argentina. 12% possession for 30 minutes when England was leading the game 1-0. That, of course, is why Thomas Tuchel's tactics have come under heavy criticism, and it's the second team this century to fail to reach the World Cup final after scoring first in the semi-final. Let's hear from Thomas Tuchel, shall we? Because like I said, he's had to defend his tactics. And he said, look, I have zero regrets. We played one of our best matches, maybe the best.
No.
All right. Well, you know what? Let's pile on England some more, shall we? So let's bring in the number one person to help us do that. And that is Mark Ogden. Look at him.
Cool Oggy.
I tell you what.
We put him on for Cool Oggy.
I tell you what, yes. In New York, Mark is sexy Mark.
Boy.
Sexy Mark in New
New
York.
York Mark.
boy.
He's looking like he belongs in Top Gun or something. Love that. Love that. All right,
The
Oggy.
old school version.
All right, Augie, well, what do you make of what Thomas Tuchel had to say about having zero regrets and the fact that, in his opinion, it was actually one of the best matches that he's seen his England play?
I just want to make sure that's not an AI quote, that's actually a real quote, because he should have some regrets because his tactics, basically, they contributed to the defeat. I mean, we're watching the game, I'm sat in the stadium and you're thinking, are England going to actually change something here? Are they going to put a striker on or a forward just to mix it up a bit, give Argentina something to think about? And if he says that was England's best performance, well, the first half an hour they were in a street fight and they didn't know about it. It took them that long to kind of realise what sort of game they were in. And then the second half, it was a retreat. It was one of the worst performances I've seen in many respects, because England lacked courage, they lacked invention, and the players lacked an idea. The one element I have a little bit of sympathy with Tuchel is that the players just didn't take control of the situation on the pitch. Now, you can have many different reasons for that. Nowadays, players are told to do certain things and they can't do anything outside of that. So Tuchel might have wanted a bit more personality from his players, but he's the guy that set the tactics. He's the guy that made the changes. And when you're taking midfielders or forwards off and placing them with defenders, you're sending a message that, guys, let's just hold it tight. So he should have regrets. I mean, I can't believe he said he's got no regrets.
I mean, if you're a manager, you definitely stick with your philosophy. And it's funny because obviously Jurgen Klopp, Shaka, has come out and has said, you know, he would have been damned if you do, damned if you don't. If the England kept pressing forward, Argentina got something on the break, then you would have been like, oh, why didn't you shut up shop and stop them and just hold on for the 1-0? Do you sympathize a little bit with Thomas Tuchel?
No.
Forget it.
Listen,
Sorry, Jurgen.
I get Jurgen Klopp defending Thomas Tuchel, his countryman. What, for the life of me, I cannot understand, you lose a game and say you have no regrets. If you lose a game at any level, you should have some kind of a regret, some kind of a second thought about, should I have done this? Should I have brought this guy on? There should be some level of introspection. You lose a World Cup semi-final after going a goal up, and you have no regrets at that moment, at that point, that goes against every single thing in this game. I have looked back on games that I have lost and thought, should I have gone the other side with a goal kick? As granular as that.
Yeah.
Yet somehow Thomas Tuchel has no regrets in this game. When the game earlier, he was critical of the players in a game that they won. Are we just living in opposites world here, as my kids used to say when they were 5 and 6 years old? I just don't get anything about Thomas Tuchel's posturing around this. It bemuses.
Ale?
I think as professionals, even when we win a game, you have regrets about some of the things that went on in the match. And so imagine when you lose a game of this magnitude. Of course you have regrets. And among the many regrets that he should have, and introspection that should be taking place right about now if you're Thomas Tuchel, he should take a look at the fact that he thought that it was the same thing to do what they did against Mexico when they were playing a man down against Mexico. Mexico's not the same as Argentina.
Yeah.
I don't know if Thomas Tuchel and England knew that, but Mexico's not the same as Argentina. He went with the same approach when they were down a player, which at that point you could have said, we can understand why you're doing this. But when you do this against Argentina and you drop so far back, and I mean so far back to where you have no pressure on Lionel Messi. I was having a conversation with our boss a couple of days ago, and it's the equivalent of allowing Steph Curry, playing zone defense and allowing Steph Curry to shoot three-pointers, open three-pointers, and say, our plan is for us to hope that he misses. That cannot be a game plan. Hope that Lionel Messi picks out the wrong pass, or hope that Enzo Fernandez doesn't hit a shot from 22 yards out, or hope that Lionel Messi doesn't find a cross, or hope that Lautaro Martinez doesn't get at the end of a cross. That's not a game plan. That's hope. That you're hoping your way to a win rather than making a win happen, which is what you need to do at this stage. And the thing is that we have seen it from Thomas Tuchel and this England version, but we've also seen it from Gareth Southgate and past version of England. So as much as this is on Thomas Tuchel, may I say, it may just be on the players as well. That when there's an opportunity to go and win the game, when it comes to winning time, go and win the game, these players and this coach has decided to go, we're going to go back, and further back. That's being scared of winning. And you cannot win if you're scared of winning.
You know, another aspect of that amazed me. It's not like nobody could see it coming.
Yeah.
McAllister hit the post twice.
Yes.
Enzo also.
With crosses, with everything.
So how do you see this coming? The footballing gods have been kind, and it come back off the post, and they say to you, hey, Thomas, things ain't going so good.
Yeah.
But you double down on that? I just don't get this. I really don't.
Well, speaking of doubling down, just have a look at what Thomas Tuchel had to say in just continuing that he's not going to accept any blame for the loss. He said, look, I think ball possession plays a crucial role. It's maybe not in our DNA like it is in the Spanish DNA or the Argentinian, Brazilian DNA to take the ball and control the game with the ball. Augie, what'd you make of that?
Well, I think he might have a point there in the sense that if you look at the Premier League, the best players in the Premier League that do that are not English players. You know, look at Man City, for instance, Zubimendi at Arsenal, that the players who can control games and control the ball aren't English. But I still don't buy this whole argument of let's blame the DNA, because England do have players who can control a game or play a different way, but he left them all at home. Cole Palmer, Phil Foden, Morgan Gibbs-White, Adam Wharton. He left these players at home and picked a team that was basically a team of runners, a team of players that would go, you know, in vertical lines rather than try and change the game. So that is on him. That one of the only players in the squad who can actually control the game is Moreno. He hasn't had a kick at this World Cup. So I do think that Thomas Tuchel's making excuses, and I think that what is significant now is that, I don't know if he's actually spoken yet in Miami ahead of the third and fourth place game, but what Tuchel says now, and even how this pointless game goes tomorrow, I think that could be very important, because he's lost a lot of support in England right now. A lot of the fans have given up on him just because of what happened and because of his comments. And obviously the media are beginning to turn on him as well. So I think he has a very important 48 hours ahead, because if he keeps making excuses and keeps pointing to things that it's not my fault, mate, that sort of thing, it's not going to work in his favour, especially with the situation whereby there are other top coaches available that might do a better job. So he needs to be careful, Tuchel, if he wants to hold on to his job.
Can't possibly make an argument about your DNA as a player and then watch this team over the last 20 minutes of that match in Argentina and not think, well, these guys are a bunch of cowards then. Is that what they have in their DNA? Because that's what they showed up. It's not a DNA of whether you can possess the ball or not. That has nothing to do with you retreating 20 yards from your own goal. That's being afraid of the confrontation further up the field. It's not a DNA of lacking possession or the ability to control the game with the ball, which you could have done had you gone and pressed the ball higher up the field. I'm not saying go and get stretched, but make your line of confrontation in the middle third, not in your defensive third. Has nothing to do with DNA. This is a whole bunch of nonsense. This is a whole bunch of deflection. Look at over here, look at over there, instead of evaluating what actually happened on the field. And what happened on the field is this team retreated. And Thomas Tuchel is he is the decision maker for this team. And so therefore, responsibility is on him as it is on the players.
Just a quick one, Augie. Just the fact that you mentioned, Augie's actually left us for now.
All right,
All right,
okay.
but I'll tell you where you could
cool for
find more
school.
of Mark Ogden. He's burning out there. Do you see that sunshine? He will be back with us in a bit. And you can also find more of Mark Ogden over on one of our other podcasts, The Football Reporters. There he is with James Ollie and Tom Hamilton. I'm pretty sure they're talking a lot more about the fallout after England's loss to Argentina. Check it out.
They all look very happy.
Yeah.